address that. As far as accuracy, I've always have gotten a draft of the minutes. Always. Going back to 2009, I get the draft of the minutes. Nobody was worried about accuracy. Nobody was worried about me putting it in the newspaper because, Bill, I know what the term draft means.
And you're
okay? No, I don't think so. See?
I think you are, because, but let's just have
Now
a
you're
discussion.
basically saying that the public, that's not smart enough
No,
to know
I think
that?
I don't think they look at draft and say, oh, you know,
Well,
this
there was,
is
and
the-
here's a perfect example. I'm gonna take a couple of 1 minute too. Here's a perfect example. Last week when you did the minutes, brought this whole thing up. Scott said, "Who is Ingram?" What did I say? I said, he looked at me and he said, "Who's Elena Ingram?" I said, "I don't know. I don't have a copy of the draft of the minutes to see what you're talking about. How am I supposed to know what you're correcting, or maybe I was at that meeting, without having a copy of the draft in front of me? How is that possible?" Okay? Susie Browning has been here several times. And she said, "Well, this isn't right, this is not what, not. Well, that's the whole point of reviewing the draft. The public that was there should be able to look at it and follow it. Oh, you got this guy's name wrong. Oh, here's one for you, and then I'm finished. The joint meeting. I remember, and it's also on the recording, that the mayor from Phillipsburg made a comment, and it was an excellent comment, on how people should say who they are. I didn't notice that in the minutes. I'm done. Maybe I'll be on next week to continue another 15 minutes of fame. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
May I make one comment here, please?
Yeah, we're gonna have to get going a little bit, so go ahead.
From a technical point of view, Mike's minutes, the draft minutes can be printed out and you can have a copy before you leave the building. So you can either do that or you can put it on a finger memory disk and have it done electronically and available to you or available to anybody in the public. He can email the thing, and so a draft copy could be technically available immediately.
Okay. Thanks, Dick. So, just a little bit past, but this is the time set for Mayor Dan Radish. Questions regarding the PILT payments in lieu of taxes and funds discussion? Hi, Dan.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to ask permission to address some PILT questions with the council here. I have one specific question, and then I would like to reflect on a written request that I have. May I proceed?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Today, July 3rd, 2018, what is the total amount of money in the PILT fund?
I'll get you exactly what it is they have in front of me.
Okay, a couple weeks ago in the newspaper, there was a comment that was made by the chair regarding $1,166,216.
That's okay.
And in addition to that, you referenced a new tranche of $260,000. Did that come in?
No.
That $260,000 additional
The new
to that.
PILT money went to the state. Gianforte gave it to the state when he was here, and I read that in the newspaper, so how long does it take before we get that money?
That's a lot of times it just goes through all the loops.
Yeah, it's a while, but yeah, I think
Okay,
that's accurate.
so that original sum of $1,166,216, which
Right.
is in the paper, is accurate as of today. If I might, I'd like to read a written request for the commissioners, and I would like this entered into the record and attached to the minutes if the chairman so agrees. This is dated June 3rd, 2018, Granite County Commissioners. Gentlemen, acting in my capacity as the mayor of Pburg, I come before the Granite County Commissioners to respectfully make an official request for the sum of $100,000 from the county's payment in lieu of taxes PILT fund. This money shall be used for an emergency repair of 2,000 feet of the Fred Bear water line. This line is a 7-mile long main artery that delivers approximately 85% of the town's municipal water supply. This water line is arguably one of the single most important pieces of infrastructure in all of Granite County. Upwards of 20 million gallons of water per month flows through this pipeline to service the town's needs and eventually enters Flint Creek to work its way down the valley. There's approximately 2,000 feet of this line that is seriously compromised and needs replacement as soon as is practicable. The pressure of the water running through this line under certain conditions can approach close to 300 pounds per square inch. The integrity of this section of pipe is seriously in question. It is of great concern as to how much longer it will safely function. A rupture in this line would be a potential catastrophe to our community. One of the numerous unique qualities of our gravity-fed water system is that the town has 2 hydroelectric power plants built into our main line. Each plant produces electricity, some used to power various public buildings, as well as a portion of this electricity that is sold to the school at a discount rate, which translates to savings in taxes to the citizens of Granite County. There was a recent event that happened on this section of pipe wherein it was necessary to turn off the upper power plant. When this issue was addressed, it was determined that the condition of the section of pipe we are referring to was so defective that we dared not turn the plant back on. It has been sitting idle now for several months. The loss of revenue that is the result of this plant being put on standby is an important matter, but it pales in comparison to the potentially monumental loss of the entire section of pipe. It would change the very nature of our community by severely impacting our quality of life and presenting a very serious challenge to public health. The first rung on the ladder of governmental responsibility for me has always been health and public safety. No matter how much the role of government grows and entangles itself around common social discourse, thus setting up unrealistic expectations among its citizens, the fact remains that providing public health and safety is the single most essential service that we undertake as elected representatives. This is a textbook case. We often hear about money being spent by government, requested by and for the benefit of special interest groups. Clean, available water and the proper disposal of wastewater are the most common of common interests. Business, commerce, art, leisure, all cultural amenities that we define as civilization, made possible only if we attend vigorously to the maintenance of our most basic needs, of which water is at the top of the list. I hope the honorable members of the Granite County Commission will give sincere consideration to this request. It would affect the people of both the town of Phillipsburg and the citizens of Granite County in a very positive manner. By doing this, we will be fulfilling our primary obligation of health and safety to our constituents. I look forward to a timely response to this urgent matter. Respectfully, Dan Radish,
Thanks, Dan.
So it's 2,000 feet of water line, and I was trying to write it down.
Yes. Right now, the most compromised part of it. There's approximately 39,600 feet of total line, of which this 2,000 feet represents approximately 5.1% of the line.
So would this just be a start on one end, and you're going to keep trying to go all the way down through Dan?
Yeah, this is approximately 2/3 of the way down. It's above the second or upper power plant. There's a section of line that this line is not buried, but it is running down on the surface of a degree of slope that's approximately 50 to 60%. It's existing on top, as I indicated. As I imagine it now, and this will have to be worked out obviously in the near term, there's not a tremendous amount of excavation to do, but there might need to be some excavation in terms of access. The logistics in terms of bringing material up, for example, that's a pretty big cost and consideration. There may need to be a very small portion of access road built to approach the existing line. So that would be an answer to that question.
So I researched the issue with the town of Drummond and their water tank. And, you know, basically there's two issues. The county has an agreement regarding the use of PILT, and then I'd have to have statutory authority for it. And I was looking at the Drummond issues and, you know, trying to find potentially a way to do that. And didn't find the statutory authority. I ran it by Mako's attorney, and he said he didn't know of any as well. So we got to get, I guess, over those legal hoops even before we can get, I think, to the issue of getting it to the commissioners.
My question, even if it's an emergency, like it's.
Well, that's, I mean, that's,
I mean, I'm not.
well,
trying-
I'll research it from that aspect.
That's
I'm
all
not-
I was.
yeah, I'm not trying to,
kept saying emergency.
I don't,
I'm not
just,
trying to, you know.
I totally understand.
Watch the project right from the start.
No, I totally understand it, and I reflect on the fact that you guys, I didn't expect an answer, obviously, today, but I want to put it on the table, I want to make it public. It's a big concern to me. It's a serious concern to me. As I indicated in my written request, it is the bottom line of what it means to be responsible government. Everything else that we have, all this stuff is made possible by a few basic needs that we need to attend to. And we have a unique situation here. I mean, there's no question about it. So let me ask you this. You referenced there needs to be an agreement between the town as a party and the county as a party, or the state?
Not a new agreement, but there's an agreement that the county has regarding the use of PILT funds, and then, which is already existing, and then two would need statutory authority then to use funds. So there's, I guess, two line items that need to be met there.
Okay, and so this, I'm sorry, this agreement that you're referring to, the who are the parties in the agreement?
Federal government.
The county and the government,
The
yeah.
county and the
Federal government.
federal government,
Yeah.
thank you, that's the
Yeah.
clarification.
So then, then if we got over those, we're able to say it can legally be done, the commissioners would then go to them to decide. And then there would need to be an agreement.
Right,
But
to proceed.
yeah, we need to get over, or get the legal issues.
Sure.
Is this 100,000 you're talking about, is that just to fix it, or is this engineering and everything too? or-
Well, the incidentals, those specific things that are obviously important would need to be addressed in the very near term. And as I indicated earlier, I didn't expect an answer.
No, I'm
And
just
what-
asking.
Right, and I
I'm
would,
not
from you
thinking-
folks. And so in this interim amount of time, I would be able to come back to you with something that was a little more detailed, would be my expectation here.
I think that's what we'd be looking for, true, but we respect your predicament. I mean, we understand that it could be a real problem to the city if we were.
And I don't wanna say I just brought up the emergency thing, cause I know what the water is, it's a big, big deal there.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's not saying drums ain't different, but I mean, theirs is completely, your guys are survival on it, theirs is, well, theirs is, I guess I'm not trying to.
So a couple of things. One, I think you do have an emergency, okay? And initially, when the city of Drummond approached us, they had some very similar issues, because that's how they put their fire on, okay? That's what that's for. So to me, it was like, well, this is urgent enough. And she made, Mayor Leeper made the suggestion that, gee, is there any, can we access PILT? Okay. And payment in lieu of taxes it isn't just, I mean, the final arbiter of that is the commission, but we have rules we have to follow as well, and that's, I think, what, when the question came up, the county attorney started the research, and I'm not sure of the answer there. Initially, he couldn't find statutory authority to allow us to do that from one governmental entity to another, okay? Don't know, but I'm glad to hear him say he's gonna continue to research that. Second thing is that I think it's only responsible as a commission as you start thinking about this, if this can occur, how do you pay it back? Okay? Because I think, and this is just me, that's our rainy day fund. That's all of our rainy, not just, you're in the county too, you have your city's in the county.
That is
And
correct.
And you pay taxes, so we have an obligation. Now, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's, can go by just that quick. One big law enforcement issue, one big flood, one big, we can go through that in a heartbeat, so.
Which is the point I'm making.
Yeah, and when I first got here, most counties have a rainy day fund from different sources. What it appears to me is that the previous county commissioners have saved their PILT money pretty responsibly for a rainy day fund. God bless them, right? But that's what they use it for. In the county I came from before, PILT money was spent every year, mostly on my patrol cars. But you know, in most counties, but they have another source for a rainy day fund, or some of them, little counties don't have a rainy day fund. But I think we be irresponsible to do that. So you've got to ask yourself, is there a way to pay this back, to put money back in the fund? If there isn't, then let's talk about that, okay? So I think, first of all, appreciate the county attorney getting back and looking, see if you can find statutory authority if we can even do this, okay? Secondly, you gotta know, we're gonna show you our needs list, and there is one, for repairing a dam. In other words, we've got some grant money, but it's not gonna be full, but we have to make these repairs, because that is a public safety issue as well.
I understand.
And I don't want to understate yours, because God, you explained it very well, that's an emergency, you got a problem. So, for me personally, we'll staff and the county attorney start getting some answers. We welcome you back for questions, and we'll try to educate ourselves to how we can help you.
Was you thinking about paying it back? I see you kinda like,
No, actually not. That thought never occurred to me, considering the fact that we pay property taxes, and this money is not associated with property taxes. It's the fact that we have 68% of the county that's federal land, and we get it in lieu of property taxes. So I think in a sense, we are paying this. And also, every single piece of infrastructure inside the town of Phillipsburg is also inside the county of Granite. And when I look at a sum of 1.6 million, for example, or 1.2 million, I think less than 10% is a pretty modest request.
Well, okay.
but if everybody keeps coming in and gets that.
And is that, am I the fifth, the first, the second? Mayor Leeper requested.
Yeah, the
All
first.
right, so that would make me the second, technically. Who else would come?
But, okay, look, but let's be honest, okay, with the public. If in fact
I'm
you're
not
not gonna
saying
pay
no,
it
so
back,
don't get.
they've gotta understand that that's what this situation is, all right? I mean, they've gotta understand that. And if they, well, why don't they pay it back? Well, maybe they don't have the ability to pay it back. Okay. So, I want them to know, as we have a public meeting or two and discuss this once we get authority, if we have authority to do it at all, that this is a grant, or is it a loan, or what is it? So I think it's important that they understand exactly what it is.
I totally concur with what you're saying, and
Okay, that's all.
I will do what is within my ability to make sure the public knows exactly what's going on.
And you know what, it's not up for the commission to say, nope, we're not gonna do it unless you pay it back. It's up for the public to say, yeah, that makes sense, okay?
Right.
And then, you know, and just for the very reasons that you described, we're all living in Granite County, right? I mean, it's
Right.
all of us would benefit from the fact that Pburg has clean, water and can count on it. No question about that, okay? I just wanna be straight up though. It's leaving PILT, is it gonna be paid back? Maybe not. How do we, come up with the money to replace it and then I want you to know what our needs are too,
Right.
okay? But we said the same thing to Mayor Luther.
I'll work with Robert and see if we.
I appreciate that,
If he has a different idea than me, then maybe we can.
Well, I think we ought to get a hold of NACO too and see if we have, an example somewhere else in Montana.
So I got a hold of Brian Hopkins, who's the attorney for Mako.
And he couldn't.
He could ask, but, we can go back and look at it. I'm not saying definitely not right now.
I appreciate that, and obviously I want to reiterate that this is very time sensitive.
I got it.
And so I know the wheels of the government turn pretty slow, so I would expect that we would, to the degree that were possible, expedite this so we can front end load it. And in terms of the line, the full line, long term, we're going to be looking at a lot of possibilities. I had a very brief discussion with Rick Day the other last week at the meeting, and I'm going to schedule to meet with him in the near term and discuss some longer-term plans. But again, I want to reemphasize that this is a specific section of pipe that is extremely compromised.
Well, Mayor, I know I don't want to slow you down, but I also think we ought to talk about if it's even possible for us to do this, and if the board agrees to do it, maybe you want to use it to leverage more money. Maybe, you see what I'm saying? Maybe there's an opportunity to get the whole damn thing done. I mean, I think it's important that, this is a lot of money, and maybe the best thing to do is leverage to get the whole thing done.
Here's some comments back there.
Yeah, I can see. So.
Just one quick comment. When you approach your lawyers or whatever, I just would say that my preference is to stay away from legalese, Montana Code annotated, this annotated. The plea to me is you have a dam that you're going to fix. Hopefully you have in the back of your mind that might rupture and cause some flooding down here. The other thing is the impact of that line blowing is so critical. It's not contained within this code or that code. It's that line blowing, the town floods. We have what, 600,000 gallons of water, which will be consumed very quickly. Everybody's without water. The town, the hospitals, no water. So I would address it from that fact of like an infrastructure repair. And it is number one on our capital improvement plan. But it's, to me, it's an emergency.
But it still has to be within the, I know it's an emergency, but it still needs to be in the confines of the law, so, yeah.
Right, but we're not clear on that law, from what I'm hearing. You're saying, we say in Montana Code annotated, I've talked to this, but maybe there's other avenues if you say it's an emergency. I don't know.
I agree, and that's why I'm keeping an open mind.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Blaine. Yes.
Clarification, Dan, was this a misread? Did you say June 3rd or today's date?
Excuse me, July 3rd.
Okay, just want to be sure of that. And now a comment, which is kind of interesting, because what they're bringing up, I think, was brought up about the dam up at Flint Creek. Exactly. You've got FERC that's involved with that, which is a federal agency, telling you you've got to make some repairs, and you're getting grants for that. Well, here's another situation. I believe that there's only 2 reservoirs or 2 hydroelectric plants, whatever, that work on gravity, and I think Flint Creek and the one for Phillipsburg are the 2. I mean, we've got a problem here, and I think this is more pressing than the airport, as far as I'm concerned. And here's just a little thing, a side note. If the town of Phillipsburg disincorporates, do you know whose responsibility that's going to be? Yours. And that's about what I have to say. And as speaking as the public, I think that the mayor of Phillipsburg has a damn good point, and that better be addressed.
Well, Mayor, we're going to take your request deadly serious, okay? We want to, I think the first hurdle, of course, is the county attorney finding out if it's even possible. Doesn't mean we can't sit down and talk about other remedies as well.
Yeah, and I'm, for the record, I'm open to discussion, absolutely. I'm not here in any confrontational manner. I'm here doing my due diligence as an elected representative. And I believe that we can probably work together on this process. The thing that differentiates it is the emergency situation. That's the only thing. I realize we're talking about a long-term spectrum here, so.
Well, emergency means a lot, it gets pushed quicker.
Absolutely. So.
And one other thing before I forget, I'm sorry, I forgot, that you talk about interlocal agreements, 2 government entities. The dam is located in Deer Lodge. I don't see you sitting down with their county to decide on the repairs of the dam.
We own, the Granite County owns the dam.
It's still in Deer Lodge.
Well, I mean, we have.
Anyway, back to you.
So, and I'll be honest with you, what I meant on repaying PILT, like if we use some PILT money for our dam,
Right.
okay, we're gonna repay it with hydroelectric money.
And
okay?
just a quick
Because
question.
we would repair our own fund, we would take a loan for ourselves, because that's, you know, that's good public policy, that's all. If this is a different thing that we can, between two entities, and you don't have the ability to pay it back, or it just does, it's not good public policy to put you under that kind of constraint, okay, good, let's talk about it.
Okay,
Because, you
If
know,
we
but I
never
want the
ever
public to
repaid
know.
it, you know, then we could never help each other.
right, I understand that. And just curiosity, the last fiscal year, when you spent PILT money, the last time you spent it, what did you spend it on? I should know
We
this.
bought a voting machine, was the last, was not a big expenditure. I think we did.
TV district.
Yeah, and transferred some money to the law enforcement.
Oh, okay, see, now there's a baseline public
Yeah.
safety issue, which I totally concur with. I think that's well spent, so thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Again.
thank you. Thanks, good
Thanks,
presentation,
Dan, for
Dan.
coming
Thank
in.
you.
There's one more.
I have a comment. Based on the audit from date June 30th, 2015, the PILT funds for the county on economic development, you identified $1,02,709 as being allocated to a specific budget request. If you've got that much money committed, you're going to be overdrawn by $833,000. Do you have $1 million or something in that range committed for the Flint Creek Dam, or do you have it committed to
I
several?
don't know what you're reading there.
It's the financial audit.
We don't have it committed to any.
Huh?
We don't have it committed to anything. It's in a fund. It's
Well, it shows that you didn't use the money last year, but so that money should be available. You should have, as of June 30th, 2017, $323,000. So have you committed this fiscal year, 2018, to have $1 million spent up on the dam, or where do you stand?
No, I don't know where you're getting that data.
That money's just available.
It's from your audit. It's from your audit, okay?
It's not committed though.
It's not committed, that's where you're wrong.
It's not committed, that's it.
You're saying the audit is wrong?
Well, I don't know how you're reading it, but no. It's not committed to anything. The PILT money is available to the commission. We haven't spent it, or we haven't authorized any expenditure.
How much are you going to commit to the Granite, to
We're
the
not
dam?
sure yet, it depends on how we do that construction. Whether it's over 1 year or a couple of years.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at, why make a commitment to the town if you can't fulfill that commitment because you've already authorized the money?
But you're just wrong, we haven't.
Oh, okay, so then they can,
We haven't committed at all.
Through this first time we've heard about it.
We haven't
Well-
committed to PILT funds and haven't committed to this project.
Right.
okay, that's it.
It's in the fund. Trust us, we have it. That's our money, we haven't committed it at all.
So you're going to overdraw the account for
No,
up there?
we're not.
Huh?
We have not committed, we've not said we're gonna spend it on anything. There's some planning.
Well, it seemed like last week you had a thing going on with Great Western Engineering where they were going to come up with a bid to commit those funds.
Not
No.
anywhere close to that one.
Not those funds, not those funds.
What
Okay,
funds?
thanks.
What funds are you going to commit if it's not those funds?
Okay, so,
But that need to be on a future agenda. Yeah, they can't talk about this.
yeah.
Okay, future agenda, that's it.